The flame of life within humans before the creation of this world, in a realm beyond the boundaries of space and time, was a part of the creative force. Now it exists imprisoned in an illusory world. This is part of the information shared by those who have introduced themselves as forces from the future, beings who, after humanity's liberation from the grip of deceptive forces, have found a way to connect with today's world. In 1998, with the official launch of a website called WingMakers, the first round of teachings from extraterrestrial forces was revealed to humans on Earth. Part of these teachings were published in a series of interviews conducted by a person named Sarah with Dr. Neruda. Dr. Neruda is introduced as a scientist who worked for a secret organization called ACIO, Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization. He was responsible for studying highly advanced technologies that were obtained from unknown, often extraterrestrial sources. In his quest for specific information from a group called the WingMakers, he ends his work with this organization and shifts his focus to disseminating the teachings of these forces. The WingMakers are said to represent a highly advanced civilization that transcends time and, in essence, comes from the future to accelerate humanity's spiritual evolution and awakening process. In religious narratives of human creation, it is said that God created Adam in his own image. However, fearing that Adam might eat from the tree of knowledge and the tree of life and attain the status of a god, he banished him from the Garden of Eden. A similar version of this narrative is found in some of Dr. Neruda's explanations based on the WingMakers' teachings. According to these teachings, initially, the Earth did not exist in its current physical form, but rather in a dimension beyond the one we experience today. Its inhabitants were not bound by time or space, an era that, in myths and legends, is referred to as the civilization of Atlantis. However, this state changed nearly 500,000 years ago with the arrival of forces known as the Anunnaki, led by Anu. They were searching for a substance found at the Earth's core. This substance, which later became gold when the Earth took its physical form, was still in its primordial state when the Anunnaki arrived. At this time, Earth had not yet assumed its physical shape as we know it today. The substance the Anunnaki sought played a vital role in maintaining the Earth's transcendent state. The more it was extracted, the more Earth descended into a lower dimension. According to these teachings, Earth also acted as a living, unified element, with one of its most important features being that when transcendent forces stayed too long close to it, their nature would begin to change, drawing them closer to Earth's physical realm. This meant that if the Anunnaki stayed too long on Earth to extract the required substance, they would lose their transcendent nature. Thus, Anunnaki's solution was to maintain a distance from Earth and instead appoint other forces to continue the work. Their first choice was Atlantis. They were able to convince some Atlanteans by offering them clothing designed with the help of beings called the Syrians to continue the extraction of the substance on Earth. However, behind the scenes they had special plans for the Atlanteans. The status of the Atlanteans who agreed with the Anunnaki is likened to astronauts who must wear special suits to survive on a planet. The suit grants them life in the new world, but without the astronaut wearing it, the suit cannot move on its own. The Atlanteans, like the Anunnaki, were transcendent beings. By wearing a suit that represented the human body, they were able to survive in the Earth's environment, which was transitioning into a three-dimensional physical world. The hidden aspect of Anunnaki and Syrian's plan involved implanting devices into the physical bodies of the Atlanteans. These implants would initially cause the Atlanteans, wearing human suits, to forget their true nature. Then, through these implants, they could be programmed and controlled within the Earth's environment. Dr. Neruda interprets that Anu, the leader of the Anunnaki, is a force similar to the inner power within humans, or the Atlanteans, with a comparable level of intelligence and ability. However, there is one crucial difference. Anu's nature is deceptive. Under Anu's leadership, and with the planning of Marduk, one of the key members of the Anunnaki, the first version of humanity was created with high capacities. It was likely that this first generation of humans would soon realize their true nature, that they were Atlanteans trapped in physical bodies serving the Anunnaki. The Great Flood, known in religious narratives as Noah's Flood, destroyed many of these humans. The survivors of this massive flood were then wiped out by weapons similar to today's nuclear weapons. After the destruction of the first version of humanity, the second version emerges with greater capabilities and, of course, the potential for advanced programming. This second version has a special implant that instills the belief in a higher power, referred to as God. The higher power here is Anu, the leader of the Anunnaki. According to the WingMakers' teachings, the higher power worshipped in various religions and beliefs, as God is in fact a representation of Anu, the leader of the Anunnaki. Anu holds no special superiority over the Atlanteans or the vital force trapped in human physical bodies. However, through a plan he has been executing for hundreds of thousands of years, he has been able to present himself as the god of humans. Even though the primary mission of the Anunnaki, extracting the vital substance now known as gold, has been completed, the temptation to be seen as a deity by humans was something Anu could not resist. The next move of the Anunnaki is to create the third version of humanity with advanced technologies, which are being developed with the cooperation of humans. If successful, Anunnaki's control over humans will be so strong that few will be able to break free from the illusory world they have created for them, a world that does not end with death. In essence, death marks the end of the physical body, but the force within is eternal. And the WingMakers aim to awaken humanity by sending messages from the future, guiding them to realize their infinite inner force. One of the first and perhaps most important topics discussed in Dr. Neruda's interviews pertains to a deception that has influenced all aspects of human life. The idea is that humanity's three-dimensional reality has been programmed to appear real, when in fact it is not. A painful reality where the human body serves as the host for an infinite and boundless force. However, beings from dimensions different from Earth have suppressed this force and trapped it in the current physical dimension through deceptive schemes. Evidence supporting this claim includes scientific calculations and discussions suggesting that the world we know has been designed using mathematics and computer codes. This implies that we are living in a simulated, confined reality, akin to laboratory mice in a controlled environment governed by superior forces. Ancient mystical beliefs also align with this, often describing human perception of the world and the world itself as an illusion. While mystics of their time lacked appropriate scientific terminology to articulate this illusion, contemporary scientists are increasingly uncovering new evidence pointing to the notion that we live in a programmed reality. But who is or are the programmers of this world? In the WingMakers narrative, as part of the plan to perpetuate humanity's enslavement, Marduk programmed the implants of the second version of humans to instill both a need for a higher power, identified as God, and the concept of awaiting a saviour in an apocalyptic future, meaning that the first version of humanity was completely unaware of the origins of its world. However, as signs of behavioural changes began to emerge that could lead to their awakening, plans for the second version of humans were initiated. These humans were programmed with an intrinsic desire for a creator and a belief in God. Through modifications made by the Syrians to human implants, the belief in a creator and the longing to understand this deity were embedded in human nature. The next phase of humanity's evolutionary line was directed towards embracing religious beliefs. One ultimate goal was to prepare for Anu's eventual return to Earth. The entire narrative of the Saviour's advent was pre-designed for this re-entry. Human evolution was carefully orchestrated so that Anu's return to Earth would be perceived as a phenomenon tied to humanity's salvation. The accompanying message reinforced the idea that all humans are Anu's children, and that his return would bring the glory of God to earth. These ideas were implanted into human minds using the implants designed by the Syrians and installed and activated by Marduk. These implants were seamlessly integrated into human bodies and function flawlessly, causing humans to perceive any suggestions transmitted through them as their own thoughts and emotions. Even concepts such as thinking about God, heaven and hell, or the afterlife are categorized as implanted suggestions. In this narrative, the phenomenon known as the soul is portrayed as a construct within the overarching program. It acts as a repository containing all the existential memories of an individual across both the first and second versions of the human body. For most people, the soul functions like a vast storage unit, preserving all the data of their physical life. However, it is not the vital force that drives human movement and existence. Instead, the soul itself is described as part of the functional implants, which must be deactivated for one to liberate themselves from the human body. The ultimate goal of all the programming is to disconnect humanity from the awareness of the boundless force residing within their physical forms. The narrative further explains that the promotion of Anu as the supreme god served as the foundation for the establishment of various religions and even esoteric sects. These systems operate through interlinked hierarchies, engaging seekers of eternal happiness in master-disciple relationships. They also delve into the concept of an afterlife, a life purportedly filled with endless rewards, contingent upon one's faith and obedience to the commands of God and his earthly representatives. However, even the afterlife is described as part of humanity's grand deception, a tool designed to perpetuate human ignorance and entrapment. In the WingMakers narrative, the world we inhabit is composed of multiple layers, each designed to ensure the enslavement of Atlanteans in human form. With each death, humans move from one level to the next, and their perception is that their world has changed. This world is structured like a hologram, appearing real based on the sensory implants within the physical body. Simultaneously, veils have been placed to obscure the true reality of humans, trapping them in a simulated world, an illusion. The good news is that anyone can break free from this illusion. No teacher or guide is necessary. There is also no need for God or a higher power to appear on the scene to bring humanity to salvation. Everything is in the hands of humans themselves. In the teachings of the WingMakers, there is mention of teachers like Christ who attempted to awaken humanity to this illusion. However, those who followed these teachers and became religious leaders gradually altered the core teachings, using them as a foundation for the program of deception and illusion in the human world. This condition is described as following shadows, and as long as humanity remains asleep to this deception, Anu remains the only god in this world. But if human awakening occurs, all will realize that they themselves, both individually and collectively, are God. This awakening is said to occur in humanity's future history, as the WingMakers introduce themselves as descendants of awakened humans who have transcended the physical dimensions of time and space. The messages attributed to the WingMakers are said to be from individuals of the future who have connected back in time to show humans the path to liberation and accelerate their escape from enslavement. This freedom does not come after death, so programming and planning regarding the physical world also extends to the afterlife narratives. Essentially, all human experiences in their human form are the result of millions of years of evolutionary design, keeping them connected to the hologram. In this illusory world, there is light and brightness. There is also the individual and collective soul, or a hierarchy of angels, masters and teachers. Concepts such as karma and reincarnation, heaven and hell, and even the Akashic records are all part of the changes that led to the evolution of the first version of humanity into its second. Even some humans have been programmed to discover these concepts in their subconscious minds and share them. In the WingMakers narrative, individuals who fuel religions, cults and philosophies whether in support of or in opposition to the more widely accepted religions, play a significant role in maintaining humanity's illusion. The result of all these movements is the same. Humans remain ensnared in their delusions, confused and unaware of their true essence. Each of these movements offers lessons that humanity must learn and follow. Earth has become a school with diverse classes, and the main message of each class is that, with adequate education and passing the test, a better life awaits after death. The advice is to wear your human form, not rebel, stay connected to the three-dimensional world, and hope for a better world after death. The harsh reality, however, is that after death, the energy trapped in the human body is met by a guardian who directs it to a place where it can begin a new life in the three-dimensional world. Often, individuals are taken through a life review, where they reflect on their past lives in great detail, and based on their experiences, the options for their next life and reincarnation are determined. In essence, they return to the same illusory, three-dimensional world and begin a new journey with a new family, continuing along a pre-programmed path. Thus, the discussions of various religions and beliefs about the afterlife are presented as part of a deliberate program to maintain humanity's enslavement within a simulated world. To change this situation and escape the illusion, each individual must awaken, remain awake, and connect to all beings in the universe to create a network of awakened forces. This awakening cannot simply be achieved by reading words or having inner intentions alone. It is the behaviour of humans that will spark change. Specifically, two types of behaviours are mentioned. Positive behaviours such as compassion, humility, forgiveness, understanding, and courage, which can manifest in the actions of any individual, and negative behaviours that strengthen the illusionary world and must be avoided. These transformations are not solely driven by humans, but also by forces within the earth that will play a role in facilitating this awakening. The explanation continues with a profound reflection on the gradual compression of the human world over a long period. This compression is rooted in the magnetic fields associated with the Earth's core, which are described as unique and even as sentient, intelligent forces. These fields have been interacting with the human forms created by the Anunnaki and Syrians, but it seems that the full extent of this interaction was overlooked by them. Earth itself is presented as an extraordinary phenomenon in constant interaction with the entire cosmos. It is even suggested that non-physical beings, when sufficiently close to Earth and present for a long enough period, can materialize into the physical world. The Anunnaki, having been aware of the Earth's unique properties, limited their physical presence on Earth, preferring to focus on the creation of humans for gold extraction rather than directly engaging with the material world. They did not want to be physically present in the material realm for extended periods. The reason the Anunnaki are not active in today's world is tied to the increasing density of the physical world. The compression of the three-dimensional realm has reached a point where they can no longer interact directly with it. This limitation has also curtailed Anu's ability to engage with his creation directly. The world we know is gradually being compressed, and when this compression reaches a critical mass, the entire system will collapse, leading to the emergence of a new system. This system is referred to as the sovereign integral network, which can manifest instantaneously, provided the right conditions are met. With the emergence of this new system, the third version of humanity will arise outside of the three-dimensional world. This new model is based on self-awareness and serves as the beginning of a process or phenomenon known as the Great Portal. This moment represents the point at which humanity achieves unity and equality, understanding at last that it is not separate from, but rather intrinsically connected to, the primary force, what has been referred to as God. This force is beyond the limitations of time and space, existing on par with those who have presented themselves as gods throughout history. In this new paradigm, humanity will recognize its true potential, breaking free from the illusion of separation and realizing its inherent divinity.